Welcome to the Modern Stock Car Cup Tour. In race 20 of 28 in our third season, we bring you the second to last regular season race. Before we begin the playoffs in season 3, we are at the Talladega Super Speedway, famous in the Deep South, for the Pilot Flying J 500. Brennan Wilmington lines up on the pole today, as like we said, we have 2 races left, only one once the checkered flag flies on this one. Until we get to the playoffs. It's Talladega and then Lime Rock Park for the Xerox 315, and then after that you have playoff segment A with Bowman Gray, Eldora, and Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, also known as MoSport, and then playoff segment B with Toledo, Winchester, and Daytona. And then we have the Champions Lottery number 3, where the top 5 drivers in the playoffs get to choose a track that they want to race at, and then it's held on for a vote by the general public, and that will be where the championship race will be. And that's one of the most unique things about the league is the Champions Lottery, where basically the champions get to decide where to race, basically their specialties, if you will. But right now it's Brennan Wilmington and Riley Wedge on the front row for today's event. Brennan Wilmington wasn't really fast in practice, but he was able to snap together a really good qualifying lap, and that's why he's on the front today. And then Riley Wedge is to his outside in position number 2. With that being said, it's time to take a look at the starting lineup presented by JDI Cleaning Systems. In row 1 is Brennan Wilmington and Riley Wedge, as we mentioned. Row 2 is Ryan Katua making his MSCCT debut, and Dan Wilkins. Row 3 is Ronnie Martin and Rashia Mahendra. Row 4 is Felipe Ford and Ryan Adema. Row 5 is Callan Fleming and Darian Arnsdorf. Row 6 is Creed Daniel and Sarah Fang. Row 7 is Kyle Driscoll and Luis Aguilar. Row 8 is Santiago Alvarez and Nelson Reeves. Row 9 is Carlos Rex and Armin Salvador. Row 10 is Chase Buck, your points leader, and Jacob Thibodeau. Row 11 is Zachary Jones and Amelia Nielsen. Row 12 is Caleb Marinelli and Doug Dolan. Row 13 is Matthew Green and Segal. Christian Coppola and Charlotte Kelly. Row 15 is Echo Ross and Daniel Rivera, starting a little bit further back than we expected, but at the same time, it's probably a good thing to start back at something like the Super Speedway. In row 16, we have Logan Williams and Sam Joseph. Row 17 is Jesse Owens Jr. Hold on, we lost our track here. Jesse Owens Jr. and Brandon Allen. Row 17 is Chris Lattimore and Hunter Walker. Row 18 is Donna Wilkins and Molly Fleming. Row 19 is JJU and Leland Hill. And the final row is Adeline Galvin and Dakota Bennett. So 42 drivers in the field today. Brennan Wilmington on the front out of those 42. It's 47 laps, just over 125 miles of racing today from Talladega. This is a little bit shorter than the original race, if you remember race 7 out of 28. This year in Season 3, we had the Sanderson Farms 500, the race that Callan Fleming won. And even though Callan Fleming is lining up in the outside of top 5 today, she's still got good track position. And honestly, you can be first or 42nd and have the same chance of winning at something like the Super Speedway, as chaotic as Talladega is. But really, I gotta say, with Ryan Katua starting in 3rd, though, that gives me hope that we might have another chance of possibly seeing something like Zachary Jones winning in his first career start, or something like Echo Ross winning, I'd say, in like a 4th or 5th start. I don't know how many starts Echo had before the 39th first win at Greencastle in the Figure 8 Derby presented by Topps. But that's going to be a whole other can of worms, because that's a 3/4 of a mile dirt track with high banking and really just not a whole lot of room for some sort of parity. But anyways, it's Brennan Wilmington, Riley Wedge, Ryan Katua, Dan Wilkins, and Ronnie Martin in the top 5. But I gotta say, even if Dakota Bennett goes from 42nd to 1st, I think we're gonna have not so much of an upset winner today, because everybody in the playoffs is going to be racing to keep their spot, and everybody below the cut line, that includes Brennan Wilmington, that includes Creed Daniels, that includes Hunter Walker, who's starting near the back. They're all going to be pushing as hard as they can, even if they end up having a unfavorable position as a result. They want to keep their cars clean, and they want to keep it rolling. Let's take a look at the starting command.
Gentlemen, start your engines!
Alright guys, let's go out there and have a good day today. We all go out there and do our job. We're going to have a nice solid finish.
trouble for the 85. He couldn't get going. 85 couldn't get rolling off the pit lane, although now it looks like he is, but he might have lost a gear, because everybody's kicking it in the second gear and Wedge is staying in the first gear. He's gonna pull into his pit stall. As now there's contact on pit lane. They're 3 wide exiting the pit lane like they're in F1. So this is gonna be interesting. Wedge is gonna lose his starting spot. Yeah, Wedge is definitely going to lose his starting spot since he's on the pit lane. Felipe Ford is going to move up. Are they just going single file here? Or is there something deeper to this? No, the 00 of Dan Wilkins is holding up everyone by going 40 miles an hour when everybody else is going 75 on the pace lap. 70, rather. You don't know what happened there with the 85 of Riley Wedge, but now the 8 of Callan Fleming has damage to her car. She won at Talladega this year, remember, earlier on, and she's got significant hood damage. That's insane. Now, Wedge is leaving the pit lane. I wonder if he had lost a gear and they had to fix that. I do wonder. Lowering his damage as well. This almost gives me a feeling of Alex Kennedy Paulie Haraka in 2013 at Sonoma when they got together. I don't know what the deal is with, are they trying to catch up? Or is it going to be, it's weird, it's going to be like Texas where the 00 gets a head start on everybody? Because I don't know what he's doing. I feel like he's got issues too. He can't even slide up the track. Like stuck in first gear or something. This cannot be happening. This is the weirdest start to a race I've ever seen, but how about a single file start? It's Wilmington Katua. Looks like Martin Ford and Callan Fleming in your top 5. We're going to have the weirdest start to a race in our history. Green flag. Can't believe it, to be quite frank with you. That, I did not expect. Did the 00 have problems? Or no, he's kicking it in the high gear now, but that's not going to help when you have... That was the weirdest start I've ever seen. Yeah, you've heard about single file restarts. How about single file starts? Now, oh man, look at this. The 66 of Ryan Katua heading down to the inside lane with Ronnie Martin in the 29. As everybody's switching lanes, everybody's acting like this is the first lap, excuse me, the last lap when it's the first lap. They're 3 wide for the lead. Brennan Wilmington already in an unfavorable spot. Ronnie Martin going to try to take advantage. It's just really weird. Doug Doring with a lot more damage than I expected. As now Brennan Wilmington really falling back. Quite honest, I don't know what happened, but he ended up having a bad lap there, 58.810. I mean, lap times don't matter as much on super speedways because you have the draft, you have everybody else that's, you know, trying to help you and really just helping you along. And this is just a situation of, I don't know what in the world happened. But I feel like there's going to be somewhat of a caution in the next couple of laps because everybody's running way too hard for this to be sustainable. Like Brennan Wilmington trying to wedge his way in between his own teammate, because these guys, the 62 and the 65, are both about, I'd say, 15 to 25 points below the cut line. And there's only 2 races left before the playoffs. So do you really have to race each other that hard on lap 2 out of 47? Like, I really don't get it, to be quite honest. But right now, your top 10... 2 dodges. For some reason, the game kind of glitches out like that. Which brings us back to the pace card. But that's okay. So that's Callan Fleming already with no hood. That's a great sign. 3 laps in. It's 3 dodges, all running in the top 3. Martin, Driscoll, and Alvarez, and then it's Coppola, Segal, and Wilmington, Ford, Ross, and Salvador, also with Ryan Couture out there. And as they approach those lapped cars, well, that's going to be an interesting thing. They're going 2 by 2 here. Going into the corner. This is going to be an interesting spot. Basically a pack or so of about, I'd say, 14 cars that are working together, and then everybody else is about 5 seconds back. Oh, look at this. Ross and Coppola all trying to avoid the lapped car, and they cannot do so. In fact, Ronnie Martin is going to take initiative and speed away on the outside line. Somebody parked that 8 car going 175 miles an hour like she's Norm Benning. Won here earlier this year and now knows no longer how to not hold up lapped cars, how to hold up lead lapped cars. Now messing up everybody. 1 second lead for Ronnie Martin because of that. And now the 80 and the 62. Yeah, thank you. Now move down to the inside, block another car. When the damage is already done and you have given up a 1.5 second lead. And it'll be like the rubber banding effect, though, I feel like. Because now that lap car's been in the way, like Doug Doring is running even slower, actually. 172 miles an hour. Everybody's going to catch up to the 29 eventually. Like, he's running really slow. These guys are running 7 miles per hour faster because he's not in the draft. He's losing the draft, really. And now everybody's going to catch up to him. And just like that, after 1 lap of being out in front for basically the entire time, Ryan Couture is going to be to the lead with Jacob Thibodeau and Creed Daniel in suit. Oh, Logan Williams almost made it 3 wide back there. He's going to fall back a little. Might even lose the draft. This isn't what you want to see, though. You know, you're used to seeing the 3x3 racing, the big pack racing, and you know, that sort of thing. And then you have situations like this where it's not really pack racing. It's just a bunch of folks grouped together. Salvador kind of catching up. We get a whole bunch of cars trying to make a move. I mean, Couture's got a good lead right now, but who knows if that's sustainable, especially with 41 laps. Salvador does not move from where he's at. I mean, why does he though, you know? Marinelli will, though. He'll gladly take the offer, although he's not getting much draft help. He's just going to split the competition up for Couture. Who knows whether that's beneficial or going to hurt somebody, but definitely going to be an interesting situation regardless. And there's Doug Doring running about a half lap behind everybody. And as we speak, Nelson Reeves is out, though. He's locked into the playoffs mathematically, so a 42nd place finish is just going to kind of put a rainy day on his parade. But, you know, he's locked into the playoffs. He could finish 42nd next race, too, at Black Rock Park. Fine. But we have 4 drivers locked into the playoffs. It's Carlos Rex, Chase Bunk, Nelson Reeves, and the 93 of Sarah Feng. So it's going to be an interesting situation going forward for them. But Reeves is out with tire problems. Alan Fleming 1 lap down in 41st, and then Doug Doring in 40th, 30 seconds off pace. And even Dan Wilkins in the 00, has not had a good last couple of weeks. You know, his mother won at New Hampshire Road Course, excuse me, New Hampshire Oval in that kind of chaotic race that was the second leg of the Planet Fitness doubleheader. I mean, come on now, this was really an interesting race for everybody involved, but it was more chaotic, if anything. Had a lot of cautions, had a lot of wrecks. Daniel Rivera flipped over twice, like literally in both races, because Rivera took a stumble and a half at the road course portion going into the road course out of the oval. He got like stuck on a grass entrapment, and then he flipped over again at the oval. He kind of got rammed into the wall, almost like I hate to make a morbid comparison here, but almost like Kenny Irwin 2000 during a practice session in New Hampshire. Unfortunately passed away along with that Eddie and everybody else. Kind of with a bad year for NASCAR in 2000. But that was really just overall a weird situation for everybody. Especially, you know, with what we have now, the MSCCT. Think about it this way. We have cars that have flipped over on the shortest of short tracks. We've even seen cars roll on their side when they get into a bump on the side door at something like Bowman Gray. Bowman Gray is not too far down the lane. It's the first race of the playoffs for the Ingevity 500. As Ronnie Martin is going to try to make a pass for the lead on lap 11. Take a look at the hood of that number 62 of Brennan Wilmington in the middle of the pack. Gotta say, a weird start to the race has made it somewhat underwhelming. But until those guys catch up, which they're not really going to, I don't think, they're even falling back behind this pack of now 13 cars as the 80 lost the ground. But really just a weird situation with the 85 having trouble at the 00 not knowing how to switch lane, created a single file start. Made a really weird situation out of it. Look at the go. Oh, we have a yellow on the track, so that won't matter. Doran gets to save his lap as we have a wreck. Rashia Mahendra and Molly Fleming look like they've been involved, so let's take a look. Yeah, they were all kind of three wide. Oh, I see. 85 got turned, and that's where this all started. So this was not really a big one, but got some cars up in there, including the 42, the 85. Zachary Jones with some great drivemanship. Oh, man, hard hit by the 7. The 05 of Matthew Green as well, getting slid in there and also makes contact with the 42 of Rashi Mahendra. We're going to take a look at this in full speed and also from the hood camera of the 05 of Matthew Green. He's trying to slow down. And 5 doesn't come across his nose. Full complete stop there. We're going to take a look at one more hood. The number 42 of Rashi Mahendra. See, he kind of gets in there and doesn't really let go, and that's when he kind of looks. 85 gets in there. And that's where it gets rough. The contact with the 7. Right upside 05. So now we have yellow flag pit stops on lap 13. PC rules are not in effect for this race, as they were not able to work properly. So we will have single file restarts as we have trouble, big trouble. The 87 of Jacob Thibodeau is all torn up, but he was not in that accident. This was after the yellow flag flew, because look, the 87 was there as well. I think there was a wreck after the caution flag had flown and everybody was slowing down. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Look, look, look. Oh, wow. And the 47 rolled over several times. Oh my gosh, I didn't even see this. Wow. That was something else. I didn't even see that. So now that everybody's leaving pit lane, this is going to mean that, first of all, it's saying that Doug Doering's the leader, but that's because he didn't hit. He was also basically saved his lap. But Caleb Marinelli is going to be the best lead lap car out there right now. I know he had a good shot at Charlotte to win what was his first career start. He's had several good opportunities to win. He's been in decent equipment that he's built himself out of Las Vegas, Nevada. It's just like Furniture Row Racing, you know, a team based in the western part of the U.S., not on the eastern seaboard. Although in NASCAR, it's more of a monopoly. If you're not based in Charlotte, you're kind of screwed. Or in the Charlotte metropolitan area. But wow, I didn't even see that from Aiden Segal rolling over and over and over again. Wow, he was running well. He was running well as well. Had a good run, top 10 equipment with Meteor. Talladega Racing. It almost sounds like an insult. Like, I'm not saying an insult to them, I'm saying like it just sounds like an insult. You say Talladega Racing. It sounds like you're insulting somebody's job. So Doug Doering is not going to pit lane, but Callan Fleming is, as she was not on the lead lap. Lead lap cars could not hit at the time as the lead lap cars did. I wonder if Doug Doering's really going to stay out. He's so off pace. If he ends up taking the lead or ends up keeping the lead, he's not going to have it for long after the green flag flies. It's going to be very much, okay, you had your lead, you've led your laps, now just move out of the way so that the cars that are real fast out there, you know, give them a shot. That's kind of what I'm looking at. On lap 15 of 47, we have our first caution involving Riley Way, Rashi Mahendra, Matthew Green, Molly Fleming, and several others. So not really the big one, but if anything, this groups everybody back together, so maybe we can have that pack racing that we kind of were promised and then didn't get it, if you will. Still just a very weird start. Surprised we haven't seen any blown engines yet, to be quite honest with you. Going green this time by. It's going to be lap 17 out of 47. As Callum Fleming will line up on the inside, but because we can't use, BC rules, I'm not talking about before Christ, or Benedict Cumberbatch. Benedict Cumberbatch. Famous actor. That's why it's such a meme to say his name, Benedict Cumberbatch. Just like how there's Eggs Benedict, which I think have horseradish in it. Some sort of Holland sauce. The story behind that was that there was a wealthy businessman who lived in the office building in his own penthouse where the Chicago Tribune was. And every morning, the same order for breakfast was a regular. I think his name was Arnold Benedict. That's why they call him Eggs Benedict. He was a wealthy businessman. Lived in the same kind of penthouse with the same dining hall as the Chicago Tribune. So if you ever get Eggs Benedict from the diner, don't forget to tell the story of the Chicago Tribune and how it rose. As Riley Wedge is exiting pit lane, he had a long pit stop. Did he have damage? Yeah, he did. We'll be going green. Can't fix the camera. Hold on. Uh-oh. We're having trouble here. Doug Doring is in the lead. There we go. Top 10, Doring, Marinelli, Coppola, Williams, Martin, Ross, Rex, Wilmington, Alvarez, and Salvador. Off of turn number 4 into the tri-oval, and we have a green flag once again on lap 17. 41 laps to go. Excuse me, 30. I'd be very surprised if Doug Doring holds on to this lead for a long while. More than 1,000 feet. Because here comes Marinelli. Also, look at this run that the 85 is getting. He got like a head start on the restart or something. Somehow Doring's holding his lead, though. I don't think that he's got speed, though. With all that damage, he opted not to get it repaired. So why would you have that speed? As Callum Fleming still having a tradition, holding everybody up. And I was correct. Didn't last half a lap. Caleb Marinelli did a lead on lap 17 with Christian Coppola in tow along with Logan Williams. Oh, now Doring's shooting for the pit lane. Wow. Talk about a turn of events. You pit under green? What kind of strategy is that? Especially when everybody else pitted under yellow and you were on the lead lap. You're basically spared the lead lap. Now the top 4 have broken away, so there is no pack racing, as we had said. No real pack racing, at least. The top 4 are in a clique of their own. Coppola, Wilmington, Marinelli, and Williams, and I'm sure if you're one of those 4 drivers, you're stoked. If you're Ronnie Martin, you're probably stoked. And if you're everybody else, positions 6 through 31, I'm sure you're not so stoked. Probably Eggs Benedict in your car. See everybody up here. I mean, Wilmington's now going to go to the lead. Remember, he was on the pole. No winner in MSCCT history on a super speedway has won from the pole. So that would be a welcome change if you're Brennan Wilmington, looking for the first win of the second half. For Pacific Racing, they won 5 races in the first half and have not won since. They even won the last race of the first half. Creed Daniel picking up his second win, and look who's back. Back again, it's Doug Doring. I'm sorry, Doug, but you can't reclaim the lead You're not the leader now, Doug. Now don't try to block the cars now, Doug. Don't try to block the cars now. You're not gonna try to block the cars, Doug. There we go. Don't do it, Doug. Don't. No. Christian, you did that to yourself. And he just slid up on the 77. So now it's 2 cars all on their own. I mean, there's Ryan Katua in 7th. They're all in a good spot. It makes me infuriated, incensed even, as to why those lap cars do that so many times. Where they block the leaders, causes a ruckus for everybody behind them. But yeah, for these two, the Marinelli-Wilmington tandem, they're fine. Williams and Coppola not so much. I mean, I hope that this lead pack catches up to them because they have no draft help, except for the 2 of each other. I think we have a lot of drivers, though, amongst ourselves who would rather have good pack racing than be out in the isolation. Look at this. They're going to try to pass the 30. As Ryan Newman said, like a kidney stone, hard to pass. And also, just like Ryan Newman, he's also incredibly aggressive in long game. That could always cause trouble. Thank you, number 30 car. Very cool. By very cool, I mean it's a nuisance. As long as he's made his way into the top 10. Went from 12th to 6th, gaining 6 spots in 1 lap. Leland Hill, native of the United Kingdom. Go to Bennett as well. Had a good run at Green Council, couldn't get it. Daniel Rivera, who started outside the top 30, is now in a position to be in a leadership. Wilmington's still in front. There were rumors about Brennan possibly scaling back to a part-time schedule next year, but honestly, he's got good equipment. He's got what he needs. He's got a fast race car, that's for sure. He says that he can. And he did kind of walk back what he had said earlier and, will run a full-time Cup schedule next year. Now Daniel Rivera and Sarah Fang going at it. Let's take a look at the hood of the number 11 Daniel Rivera machine, sponsored by Nyaners. Lap 23. Rivera, who was in the top 5 at the front of that isolated pack, he's now all the way back in 8th, behind the 00, 93, 24, and the 19, although, yeah, the 77 and the 31, they're catching up to him, running almost 5 miles per hour faster. And it's not because they're lap cars, they're right ahead there, but just because they're, kind of all bunched up. And they're by themselves. I mean, the 00 is now going to be in 3rd, and the 31 and the 77 are taking a lot of steps back. I want to take a look at these lap times for the 62 and the 15 when we get a shot, because right now the fastest lap actually belongs to Matthew Green, who's out of the race, position number 38 with a 49.482. Rashi Mahendra with a 49.534. He's also out. And then Riley Wedge, who is running back 1 lap down. Oh, Marinelli has lost something. Sanity, fuel, we don't know. He has lost it. He immediately pulled down to the apron. You saw that. I mean, he was in 2nd. And something broke in the car. Something broke in the car. Heartbreak for Marinelli. The engine just shut off. Yeah, he's got nothing. Nothing in the car. And now, Brennan Wilmington is out by himself. This is just like Ronnie Martin, but on a much larger scale. Take a look at the 00. See how close he is. Way out there. All the way out there. But they're not going to throw a yellow because the 15 was off the track. But something in his engine popped, and eventually it shut off down the back, and that's how we got where we are now. It's the 85 of Riley Wedge, one lap down, but running at 176 miles per hour, almost a constant pace. Yeah, that's a 3-second lead for Brennan, and it was closer to 4 seconds before, but he's all by himself out there. He's got no help from Marinelli. And Marinelli and Wilmington are good friends. But just now, it's a much, much more complicated situation because now the 62's like, okay, if and when everybody catches up to me, how am I going to defend that? How am I going to keep that rolling? Because you have the 8 up ahead of you and running under 170 miles an hour. I don't know how there's not a minimum speed violation for that. But now it's literally gaining 1.5 seconds per lap. 50.35 for Dan Wilkins and a 52.138. Oh, we have a spin back here, so they're going to be bailed out regardless. A spin in turn 2. It's Jesse Owens Jr. and Luis Aguilar. As now, oh, big trouble. Charlotte Kelly. Luis Aguilar went up the track and took out about 3 or 4 cars with him. And he drives off with no problem. Caution is out, and Brennan Wilmington bailed out unless they pass him before the start-finish line, and they did with ease. So, in fact, Dan Wilkins might take the lead away. We'll take a look at the replays after the race back to the line. So, Wilmington couldn't even keep the lead for that, so he's not bailed out in that regard. But it is Dan Wilkins who leads at the time of caution on lap 28 with 20 laps to go. Man, such a shame. Yeah, I saw that happening in the distance up here. Let's take a look. Contact with the 54 and the 55, and then just like with Rashi Mahendra and Riley Wedge, Wedge goes up the track here, and Aguilar as well. Contact with the 24, 2 dodges there, and then it's kind of just like a 2-car incident, and then here comes everybody else in this pack. Alvarez, Charlotte Kelly, JJU I saw was involved. Just a bad incident for everybody. And then Brennan Wilmington, like we said, had a 3-second lead, evaporated to nothingness. As now Dan Wilkins and his DWR teammate, who is returning to the team next year, Chris Lattimore, will be returning this time in a Ford with the same sponsors, REI and the North Face. Possibly another scheme along with that as well. Dan Wilkins Racing been picking up some sponsors lately, including NRG Energy. Now Christian Coppola is going to go to pit lane along with Brandon Allen, Carlos Rex, Logan Williams, so about half. And I'm not talking about those who are involved in the accident. These are just drivers that are choosing to go to the pits. This is where the strategy comes into play. Because, you know, as the 00 or the 67 or the 29, whatever, for those that stayed out, you know, where do you go from there? And for those that pitted, you have to go to the back, but you're going to have fresher stuff. And, you know, it kind of balances itself out, if you will. So Lattimore moves up to the 2nd position. That would be nice for DWR 1-2. As for the rest of the team, well, the 55 was just involved and he's out in that accident. He scored somewhere in the upper 30s. And then 13 is also out. I don't know if she was involved in the accident or not, but now it's just the 2 Dan Wilkins Racing cars left. Wilkins and Lattimore, Safelite Auto Glass sponsoring 00. REI North Fund sponsoring 67. As now the 60 has that 31 by AirPods. They're leaving pit lane. dropping. How about the new Kanye album that hasn't dropped yet, Donda? I know it's me trying to find filler time between cautions, because I don't want to just sit over here for 5 minutes and not do anything, but he has a history of delaying albums just too long. Like, The Life of Pablo was delayed a year and a half, and it wasn't even that good of an album. Now, I wasn't like a big fan of Kanye back then, or wasn't a big listener of his music. But this is more frustrating than anything. Yes, it's a tradition. Yes, it's suspense. But there's a point where it starts to become a nuisance, and it starts to actually take away from the product because there's more promotion, there's more teasing. Because we don't know when it's coming out. Somebody said August 5th. Somebody said August 6th. Somebody says it's going to drop tomorrow. Somebody says it's going to drop August 9th. But this is coming from a man who has about 510 songs in one giant playlist. And apparently people split up their playlists into different genres. And I'm like, no, I got 36 hours or so of music on my original playlist. But there's filler content for you. Armin Salvador is going to line up in 4th, and Brennan Wilmington is in 5th, so he didn't lose too many spots. And it's not like he didn't have a fast car. You saw he was leading on those laps before with Marinelli, with Williams, with Coppola. But the problem is that on a super speedway, when you have no draft and you're by yourself, that's when it becomes almost dangerous. Because, you know, if you make the wrong move, you're going to end up causing a big crash, almost like Kevin LePage. Also, Caleb Marinelli is in the back. He had a emergency in his engine where the ignition just shut off, and he had to go to the pit lane for that. But he ends up coming back onto the onto the track, 2 laps down in 28th. But this is going to be huge for Dan Wilkins, who is in the playoffs right now, but he's on the bubble. Like, he is not guaranteed in any way to make the playoffs unless he has a good run. Like, right now, as we stand after the New Hampshire road course, he's 5th in points. He's 79 points above the cut line. He's not mathematically locked in, but if he has absolutely great runs in any of these 2 races, then he can lock himself in. And with all the cars that have wrecked out so far, because right now we are, got I don't know, 30 cars on the track or something, or closer now to 25, but still, the playoff cars that have been involved in accidents today, that includes Nelson Reeves, who's in 3rd, 140 points above the cut line, so he's locked in. The 0-5 of Matthew Green, he is in 15th, only 20 points above the cut line, and that's a 38th place finish, so that's really good. Jacob Thibodeau in 14th, 22 points above the cut line. He's being supported 36. Creed Daniel, that was huge for him, or huge against him. 20 points below the cut line and finishing 35th. Doug Doring's not in the playoff picture. Donna Wilkins is. She's in 9th in the points, 61 points above the cut line. That 1 win, 2 top 5s, and 4 top 10. She's being supported 33rd. Jesse Owens Jr. right now, as we speak, is in 26th, 51 points below the cut line. I think you can basically say he's out in 30th. And then also the 16 of Santiago Alvarez, he's in 6th in points, 79 points above the cut line, tied with Dan Wilkins, his former team owner and teammate, with 462 points. And Marinelli, 2 laps down, Cameron Fleming, 2 laps down, Riley Wedge, who, as we speak, is 21st in points, 27 points below the cut line. But honestly, depending on how the days go of Darian Arnstorff and Matthew Green and Jacob Thibodeau, Riley Wedge could sneak his way in after Lime Rock Park, but he has to have basically an impeccable performance in Lime Rock Park and still finish the race today. It doesn't matter if he's off pace. It doesn't matter if he's several laps down. The finishing position is what matters, and what matters is that if other cars get out or something along those lines, then he can gain positions basically off of the sadistic nature of other people's crashes. But that's how it rolls when you're 27 points below the cut line. Brennan Wilmington, who's running in 5th as we speak, is 13 points below the cut line. Darian Arnsdorf is 13 points above the cut line, and he's in 12th. That is going to be the biggest spot to watch as the pace car will pull off. The top 10, Dan Wilkins, Chris Lattimore, Ronnie Martin, Armin Salvador, Brennan Wilmington, Felipe Ford, your Martinsville winner, his teammate, Dakota Bennett, Chase Buck in the 19, Leland Hill, Sarah Feng, as we go green on lap 32 of 47 from the Pilot Flying J500 at Talladega. We are back underway. About 15 laps to go or so. Look at Felipe Ford already making aggressive moves. Wilmington's not doing himself any favors, though, by going down to the bottom where all those 3 lap cars are. Marinelli, Wedge, and Fleming. Without BC rules, it's kind of hard to dictate. And, you got to send them to the back and all. It's just a no-win situation. That's really not going to help them, though. But the 98 has to finish 12 spots behind, or the 62 has to finish 12 spots ahead of Darian Arnsdorf to get into the playoff picture. And right now, he's being passed by Darian Arnsdorf. Take a look at that. Yep, Darian Arnsdorf is passing him, so the more positions he gains, the further he falls down the cut line. But Wilkins in the lead, Ronnie Martin looking for a little bit of revenge. Martin's one win was at Atlanta earlier this season, and just his second start after failing to qualify for the American Airlines 500. He's almost looking for a little redemption, if you will. The AirPod case is magnetic, but Ronnie Martin to the lead. Armin Salvador right behind him. Felipe Ford, they're basically running in a train in the middle, and then you've got to back up ahead here. Felipe Ford looking for another top 5, another good run. He's got 2 top 5 this year, including that one win at Martinsville. He's 32nd in points, has 3 top 10s. And for Dan Wilkins, how about him? Looking for his 10th top 10 of the year. Sarah Feng as well, looking for her 10th top 10 of the year. There's only one man with more top 10s than anybody else, and it's Carlos Rex, but he's at 14. He has 11 top 10s, 7 top 5s, and that one win. But then you look at somebody like Daniel Rivera, he has 2 wins, but that makes up 2 of his 3 top 5s, and all of his top 10. So he's either in the front, or he's got nothing. That's exactly what I have noticed. It's now Felipe Ford and Dakota Bennett. I know Marinelli's 2 laps down, but Marinelli is really kind of helping everybody else because he's on the lead lap, or excuse me, he's got pace, he's got some good speed to him. It's just a shame that he's 2 laps down, about to be 1 lap down. There we go. So depending on how if there's a caution or not. Like Sarah Feng's already got 1 win this year, and she almost won a second time. But now she's got a real opportunity. There's Sam Joseph into the picture. Can you believe that Sam Joseph, who's 31st in points, that top 5 of the New Hampshire Road Course was his first top 5 of the season, his first top 10 of the season. Almost everybody else had a top 5 or a top 10, something like that along the way. Even Marinelli has a top 5 and a top 10, or 2 top 10s. Including 1 in Charlotte. But here comes Sarah Feng down the inside with 13 laps to go. Pilot Flying J500. Ryan Katua also making it good for himself. Darian Arnsdorf looking to snap his winless streak. Now 42 Walt Disney World Speedway. Sarah Fang, your winner at South Boston, really making some defensive moves here. As this would definitely be good for Sarah, as she's locked into the playoffs already. 117 points above the cut line, 500 points exactly. One win at South Boston, as we said. 3 top 5 and 9 top 10s. It's Ronnie Martin. Right now is on the outside looking in when it comes to the playoff picture. He probably has the best chance of sliding up into a spot, considering that Jacob Thibodeau is out of the race. Also is Creed Daniel. 20 points down. He's got that one top 5 at Atlanta. It's a race team 1. The Aaron's 400. And then he's got 5 top 10s along with that as well. So this might be a game changer for that 29. That might be something else. As Darian Arnsdorf kind of out of the picture now, and Brendan Wilmington back in. He's got another chance. We're going to be going to 10 laps to go this time by. You're going to take a ride with the 29 of Ronnie Martin as we crank it up. Back with 8 laps to go. You can see all this kind of drama building up. Brendan Wilmington to the lead. You can see everybody else. Some new faces into the picture. Kyle Driscoll in the back of that pack is basically a level of the top 17 or so, top 18, whatever. 1.5 dozen. As Ryan Katua, who's in 5th right now and actually moved up to 2nd. At least that's just how the leaderboard shows. Possibility to be the next Zachary Jones, if you will. First Cup start with a win, although this would be the first time that somebody in their own equipment won a Cup race in their first start. As remember, Zachary Jones, who is currently running as we speak. Not running. He won his first career Cup start almost in the Ty Gibbs fashion with ARE. Speaking of ARE, here comes Ryan Adema charging to the lead as he scrolls past the 39 of Echo Ross. As everybody's kind of stacked up behind him. That's a big run for the 92. This is kind of screwing everybody over here. Because the 39's in the middle of the racetrack. What's that all? But now, everybody's 3 wide again. Man, they're almost touching at the line. It's Dakota Bennett and Dan Wilkins trying to get a peek. The 98 of Arnsdorf, 2. Wilmington and Lattimore. Felipe Ford is the 39, still not dropping back. That really messed up the 93, nothing in the 29 there. That's, as I said, it was sentenced to the problem. Lap 41 out of the 47 that were in the closing laps here at the Pilot Flying J500. It's going to be an interesting battle to the end because you know, have that little pack racing, but not that big of a pack racing. 22 cars on the lead lap, 26 cars still in the race. Brendan Wilmington shooting down low. Haven't had a green flag pit cycle all day today, and I don't think we're going to need one. The 2 cautions that we've had. And if we do need a green-white checker because we're not under the PC rules, we will go to a separate event and have a 3-lap green-white checker, just like we did at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway for the Senior 400. That race that really one is only through. And look at Callan Fleming. Here comes Dan Wilkins shooting up to the lead. What are you doing? What are you doing? Now the 00's got that big run. Oh man, that's... Now it's just going to be like Bristol all over again. The 00 and the 92 duking it out for the last couple of laps. What are you doing? That's the most boneheaded thing I've ever seen. And I guess it gives everybody more time to catch up. Man, that's such a boneheaded, no brain inside that head. 00 of Dan Wilkins leads, though. Lap 43 out of 47, looking for his second win of the year, which would be his 4th total and his 3rd on a super speedway, wouldn't you believe it? He won both Daytona races last year. He swept them. And now it's a whole different ballgame. Remember, he won at Texas earlier this year in a last lap pass over Carlos Rex. He could have had that second win. Now he's probably in the best position yet for his second win, but guess who's also trying to get his second win? It's Felipe Ford. Coming down to the inside there. Once on a short track, how about on a super speedway? 4 laps to go. Going to be in the making this time by Ryan Katua. Trying to pass by on the outside. I thought somebody was going to get hooked there for a second. As Wilkins and Wilmington up top. As I'm just making sure that nobody wrecks. Bennett with a good charge. From Logan Williams, Brandon Allen on the inside. So is Darian Arnsdorf and Lattimore and Marinelli. And Ryan Katua kind of holding up to 00, although they're both fast. They both have good runs. I wonder if this is going to create an interesting strategy on how you do, because you're 3x3 on these last couple of laps. Look at Brandon Allen and that number 70. He's a Buick making a good run. Darian Arnsdorf, too. I think that's the fan favorite to win if you're anybody but Brandon Allen. Here we go. 92 coming down low. 98, excuse me. 67, also with a good run. In the middle lane now, trying to work with his teammate, Logan Williams, with 3 to go. About, I'd say, maybe 7.5 miles. A good pack of about 16. Keeping their line. As Brandon Allen hasn't won, he's really had a step back of a season this year for his team that he owns. As he's in 29th in points, 2 top 5s, 4 top 10s, but the greatest place to get your first win will be a super speedway with all of that suspense leading up to it, with 2 laps to go. Marinelli on the inside, although remember, kind of put an asterisk over that. He's in 25th, 2 laps down. But Allen trying to hold him off, trying to get the best draft advantage that he can. I don't think we're going to have a green-white checker at this point, although everybody's running insanely hard to get there. Coppola, I think Coppola's losing speed. Coppola lost a whole bunch of speed. I think he's got some sort of issue with the car. So that's going to be a real shame. Look who's charging up front now. Carlos Rex with a good shot. Marinelli on the outside. The pack has broken up and the white flag has flown. 1 more lap to go. Ronnie Martin trying to get a run. Dan Wilkins and Brennan Wilmington as well on the inside. I thought it was over for the 93 and the 92, but now it's got a little bit of spark left on it. With 1 lap to go, with Christian Coppola with late problems. Martin going down to the inside. Wilmington as well. Now Rex is up top. Is this going to be like the truck race finish where it's 4/1000ths of a second that separates the two leaders? Because right now it's looking like it. Ronnie Martin up front. He passes Carlos Rex. Brennan Wilmington trying to get a run down to the inside. He hasn't won since Michigan. Martin hasn't won since Atlanta. They're side by side coming off of the final corner. Who's going to get the advantage? Wilmington with a run. Wilmington to the lead. It's side by side. It is nearly a tie. And they're saying that Ronnie won this race. Whoa! Oh my goodness, 1/1000th of a second. That's closer than 2011 in the real world. That's incredible. Lining it up for one of the best finishes I've seen. Such a huge push from Brennan. You might want to put another one over that one. Take a look at this. Frame by... Oh man, see that's one where I can't even say who won that one, since they are basically identical. Take a look at it over here. Nope, just side by side. Wow. Keep that one in your scrapbooks, folks. What a finish. Well, next time around we have the last race of the regular season. The Xerox 315 from Lime Rock Park in central Connecticut. Ronnie Martin with his second career win, and it comes at Talladega Superspeedway. Brennan Wilmington falls oh so short. We will see you next time on the Modern Stock Car Cup Tour.